All right, Father, we come first of all just to give you thanks for who you are. Woo, 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 Lord, we lift you, we glorify you, we magnify you, Lord. Um, you are just super duper gorgeous. How you love on us, how you see us, how you guide and direct us, how you take time with us and um, give us direction and whisper instructions and give hugs of encouragement, Lord. I just thank you and I bless you for you just being you all by yourself. You can do it all by yourself, yet you ask us to be your eyes and your ears and your feet and your mouthpiece in the earth. And so I sit in awe and I am grateful and ooh, who am I? Who are we, Lord, that you are even mindful of us? And so,
Thank
again, I say thank you and I bless you, giving you super duper gorgeous hugs. I ask that you have your most awesome way in my sister's life, Lord. Just continue to move as you have, but Lord, just blow her mind. Oh my goodness, the great and awesome thing that she is doing in the earth, Lord, cultivating love and healing, Lord, and just directing others back to you. Wow, 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 wow. What a beautiful thing. Her just saying yes to you is a gift to the world. And so I say thank you. Thank you for her life, Lord. Continue to just bless her in magnificent ways. And I thank you for this opportunity to have a conversation with her, that her story is told, Lord, that others who will watch will not only come to know her and not only come to know the gift that is in her, but then they too will stop and ask the question, well, who am I and why was I created? What is my purpose? And that begins that whole relationship, that beginning of the relationship of you and them, Lord. And oh my gosh, I'm excited for them. I am excited for them. And so I say thank you for this platform, this thing that you have created, that you've nudged me into, and may it do exactly what it was set out to do and what it was created to do. So again, I thank you. I give you glory and honor. Super duper gorgeous blessings. Woo, 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 woo. Ha. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Oh my goodness. Miss Shirelle Brown. Yes, welcome her to the stage. Yeah! I love it. I am so excited to have you here. Um, as you and I shared previously before we started the recording, that our stories are very similar. Even the gift that thing that God has given to you about that embrace. It's something about that embrace, indeed.
Yes.
And just that, woo, Lord, walking in authenticity. For truly, that is the direct connection to the Most High. That is the direct connection to us walking in purpose, right? Because
Yes.
if we hide and if we are trying not to be who we were created to be and scared and trying to do what everybody else is doing, then there is no way that he could do the thing that, we were set to do, because we are saying no. Ultimately, that is saying no to him when we try to hide who we are. And so I am so grateful to have met you through our life coaching class. And wow, wow, wow. It is, I'm excited to come to know even more of who you are through this conversation. So I guess I better be quiet so that you can talk So my sister, if you would, please share with the world, who are you?
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for inviting me, for having me here on your platform. I think it is nothing short of a sincere honor to be in this space with you today. So thank you. Who am I? Well, my name is Shirelle Brown. Very simple. I'm a little girl from LA, California.
All
Um,
right,
and I just happen to be in love with the Almighty.
LA.
Generally, when people ask me who I say I am a daughter of the Most High God. And I have learned that as a result, I cannot be defeated and I will not be denied. So I am someone who has learned and is still learning to walk in the authority that my Father has given me and to share that with as many sisters that are willing to allow me to share with them. That's who I am.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so that's in a nutshell, that sums it up. But a little bit more about me. I am a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. I have been married 32 years in June.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
Congratulations.
we have 6 children of our own, and then we acquired 5 more along the way.
Oh my.
So yes, yes. So we have 2 natural granddaughters and 3 that came from our additional, well, our oldest additional daughter. She blessed us with 3. So I have 5 granddaughters, all
Wow.
girls. Funny because my children, my birth children, I have 5 boys and 1
Wow.
girl. So that's just a little bit about me. Like I said, born and raised LA, California. I am a beach baby. The beach is my happy place. And so now that I live in Plano, Texas, I just, I don't get to see the beach as often. But
Right.
if I could find a pond or a lake or a waterfall, I'm
Mm,
happy. It's
mm.
something about water in motion that just it does it for me. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's who I am. That's I'm all about loving on people and making a difference, right? I feel like when we show up to make a difference. We show up to bring change. When I open my mouth, transformation absolutely should be falling out.
Mm,
That's it, and that's all. And I've didn't know that I always held to that, but when I look back over my life, that has always been my mantra, even though I didn't know that was my mantra.
yeah.
Because growing up, there are always signs of who you are and what you're doing, and
Absolutely.
it's always there. And for me, I was the coach. I was the one that everybody went to, you know, for advice, for direction. I don't know what to do, or I just need help just getting through this. Not necessarily that you need to tell me what
Right.
to do. I just need help through this. I was always that one from a little girl. Come from a large family, tons of cousins, and I'm number 6 on my mom's side. I'm number 6,
Right.
and so we were the big kids, and I was the baby of the big kids. But when
Wow.
they needed advice, they came to me. And I didn't realize that then. Most of my friends were older than me, but they came to me for advice. Um, Grew up, I married a man who happened to love God more than he loved me. Thank
Mm,
God for that. And then along the way, he decided that he was going to say yes to God's call on his life.
mm.
In doing that, that just kind of happened to make me a pastor's wife at a real early age. Now, we got married early. We had a plethora of children. And then not only did he decide he was going to listen to God, but he also decided he was going to be this businessman. So we got businesses going, right? Somewhere in the midst of that, I'm saved, I love the Lord, and I'm serving, but I lost all of me.
Mm.
Somewhere in the midst of that, I was very much doubting my own self, my own validity, anxious about my tomorrows, all of them.
Uh-huh.
To the point where I was making myself sick. Like
Mm.
the first part of it, I developed asthma. Now, most people have asthma as kids and then they grow out of it. Uh-uh. I grew into mine.
Wow.
And I grew into it quickly and it became chronic.
Mm.
So my doctor said, "Oh no, you can't work." No, it was my nurse. She said, "Miss Brown, I need you to go and apply for Social Security." Me and my naivete, I was like, "Isn't that for old people?" She's like, "No, baby, that's for anybody who can't work, and you cannot continue to work like this." I was like, "Okay." So for 5 years, I was a chronic asthmatic. For 5 years, I was in and out of the hospital or the doctor's office on a regular basis because even though I had my nebulizer machine at home and I had my quick inhaler and I had my medications, none of it was sufficient. What I didn't know is that it was the fear and the self-doubt that was cutting off my oxygen.
Mm. Wait a minute, hold on. Say that part again.
Yes,
Woo!
it
It
was
was the what?
the fear and the self-doubt that was cutting off my oxygen.
Woo!
And so we go along and I'm in this situation for a while and we had our fourth child, my daughter. She was born in September. In December, I had another attack. I'd had one in probably October. And then I went to the doctor for treatment twice in November. In December, I had a major attack and I had to go and be hospitalized again. Now, one thing about me, when I had my children, all six of them, I nursed them.
Mm.
That's what I did for my babies. Now, she's 3 months old. They put me in the hospital right before Christmas. I don't get out until after New Year's.
Oh.
And I'm full of medication to the point where I could not nurse my baby.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And that's when I just pulled a page right out the Bible and I turned my face to the wall and I
Mm.
had a talk with my father. And from that day to this day, I have not had another asthma attack. I have not been back to the hospital. And God told me it was the fear and the anxiety that was cutting off your oxygen.
Mm.
And that came from me not being certain about who I was.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything else. It wasn't, it, people can always come up with reasons and excuses why they feel what they feel. But at the end of the day, when you are honest with yourself, I realized that I just wasn't certain about who I was. And that's where all the insecurity stemmed from. And that insecurity was overwhelming to the point where it was cutting off my oxygen. I literally could not breathe.
Mm.
So God healed me from that. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all don't, until you know what it is to feel like you breathing through a coffee stirrer,
Ah.
you don't know how amazing it is to breathe, right? To just
Wow.
and be able to take a deep breath. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
couldn't do that for years.
Mm. Mm.
Deep breaths were not a thing. Oxygen levels for me, if I had a 78 oxygen level, I was doing good.
Wow.
That is horrible. That's
Right.
horrible.
That is right.
But God, yeah, right. So, but when God healed me from that, I began to recognize there's a correlation. And so as time went on, and you grow, you get into things. I never went back to that, but some other things would come up where I would be insecure or doubtful.
Mm-hmm.
And they would manifest honestly in my body.
Ooh,
And
girl,
so,
I mean, we have so much in common. Oh my gosh. Yes.
yes. And so as God shows me what it is, okay, the root cause of this is that. It's like, oh, okay. And so now, once I figure it out, I'm like, I try to share that information with people. I try to encourage people, take care of yourself. Self-care is a real thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It is necessary. It is not optional, and it is nothing selfish about it. The only way you're going to serve properly and to serve at your best is if you actually take care of yourself. So I try all of that, and I'm doing that. But it wasn't until maybe about 5 years ago that I got a revelation of what I'm really doing in this whole thing. Because I've always been the go-to person. I've always been the comforter. They used to call me little Pollyanna because I always looked at the bright side, Well,
oh my gosh.
always looking on the bright side, right?
Look,
Um,
did you ever have individuals to get mad at you because you
yes,
always look at the bright side?
yes.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? And it's like,
Having a whole fit about it because they just
right,
want to be mad. You have a right to be mad. Feel that anger. Be mad, and then let's go do.
right,
No, I
right.
don't want to talk about that right now. I'm just look.
I'm sorry.
That's all
I didn't
consuming.
mean to interrupt you, but it was like, that's
But
enough.
yes,
Yeah.
but see, I learned that that's all consuming, and that anger, if we don't acknowledge it, feel it, and then release it like we're supposed to,
Right.
that's gonna show up. It's gonna show
Yeah,
up in your other relationships. It's gonna show up in your body. It's gonna show up in your mental health. It's gonna show up somewhere that you absolutely don't want to see it. So let's go ahead and just deal with that. So I learned over the years how important it is to be honest with yourself, first off,
mm,
then to know who you are, and then to walk in that authenticity. And even now, today, I'm learning more. Like, you never know all the stuff, but I'm learning more every day. And my whole heart desire is to share that with as many sisters as will allow me to.
yeah, yeah,
Because I hurt when I see my sisters hurting. And it's something when you've been there and you can sit back and you can listen because they're gonna tell you.
right, right,
They're gonna tell you without you even asking. You
right,
listen and you watch and you know that if you could just embrace the reality of who you are, who
yeah,
you
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah,
If you can embrace that reality, you could begin to manifest excellence in all the different areas of your life. And I'm talking about finances, I'm talking about physical health, I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about peace, because some people just don't have no peace,
right,
right?
right,
Whatever your situation is, you can manifest excellence in all of those areas if you just learn how to embrace the reality of who you are.
right,
Right.
right.
And
And
so that's my
yeah,
mission. I'm on a mission to do just that at this point in
I,
my life, to make sure that people are being healed, like
mm,
from the inside out, wholly and completely. I think
mm,
I was telling you before the recording, when I started coaching, I started to see a lot of people who had literally walked away from God.
mm,
And they walked away from God because prayers weren't answered. They walked away from God because people had hurt them.
mhm.
They walked away from God because they didn't understand why this happened or that happened. And at the end of the day, the reality is you walked away from God because you never realized who He was to you and who you were to Him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All those other things happened.
right,
I'm not taking that away from you. They happened. But if you knew who He was to you and who you are to Him,
right,
never walk away.
right,
And so I just had this desire to help my sisters learn to embrace
mhm,
God in the fullness of who He is. Uh, uh, Deuteronomy 8:18, and He says that I've given you the power to get wealth, well-being, wholeness, peace of mind. It's not just money. When we're
right,
talking about wealth, we're talking about shalom, right?
right.
Perfect peace,
Yeah, yeah,
nothing
yeah, yeah, yeah,
missing.
Yeah.
Nothing broken. He said, I've given you the power to get this. He didn't say he was going to hand it to you on a silver platter. He didn't say that, just because you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that now all these things are in your hand. He said he gave us the power to get it. Now we have this responsibility to start exercising that power.
Mm.
And I just recognize that, myself included, a lot of us didn't know how to exercise that power.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go to
I,
church, you praying. Oh Lord, I'm praying. I'm crying.
right.
I'm fasting. I turn my plate over. I fast. The pastor said, give, I gave. I show up every Sunday, every Wednesday, every whatever. And it's still not happening. What's going on? Well, you're not utilizing your power. You're going through the motions.
Right.
All of those
Checking
things,
the
yeah, you're
box.
checking the boxes. That's what you're
Yeah.
doing. All of those things have their place,
Yeah.
but none of those things alone are going to do it. You have to first know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to know who you are, because you have to know when to pray and when to fight and when
Mm-hmm.
to fast. You have to know how to hear your father and when he's speaking to you,
Mm.
because what he said to her is not necessarily what he's saying
Right.
to you.
Right.
All these things come into place. So it's so vital that you know who you are and
Yeah.
that you build that relationship with him. And once that's done, then all the pieces start coming together and you can begin to manifest excellence in these areas where you feel like you're missing it. And so the more he showed it to me, the more I see it.
Mm.
You walk into a place and you see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just decide they want to come and confide in you. You don't know these people.
Right.
They just,
Yeah.
you just look like somebody who will listen. They want to confide in you.
Yeah.
And you see it and you see it and you see it. And it's like, okay, my heart goes out every time I hear somebody say, oh, I'm just, I love God, but I'm more spiritual than religious. And I understand what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times they forget that they push God aside and they were just going on the unctions and the notions.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important. I don't care where you go to worship. That's irrelevant to me. Are you building a relationship with God? A real, unshakable
Right.
relationship with him? Like
Right.
when I'm coaching my clients, I tell them, you want to do XYZ in business. Have you made God your partner?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? These things are
Absolutely.
vital. And if
Right.
we're not doing it his way, you're never going to live your best life. You're going to do some things and have some fun, but
Right.
you'll never live your best life because he has determined what your best life is.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So anyway, that's me on my soapbox. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. That's what I do. And just one life at a time.
Right.
I'm
I
out
mean, yes.
doing my
Yeah.
part.
One. Yeah. 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 I love everything that you said. And oh my gosh, we go back to so much in common, the thing that God has, placed in me, and I hear me through you. Um,
Mhm.
and the thing that I share as well is that I truly understand that whole disconnect, right? When it comes to um, trying to embrace our purpose, trying to seek, out purpose. I That whole walking in truth, authenticity, it is hard. It is it's hard. The hard part is, and it's easy when you just go on and do it. The hard
Right?
the hard part, the challenge, I'll just say that the challenge in getting to that, go on and just do it, is that we have grown accustomed to worrying, or let me see, putting more value on what other people say about us and just about life in general, you know, as if they have the number one way in doing things, you know. And honestly, even in our growing, right? So from a child to an adult, we're taught what to do, how to do it, how to think it, you know, we're taught that. And along the way, we have, I was going to say conversations, but this is not a conversation. It's when there are people around you, whether they think that they're being loving and kind when they, you know, try to tell you what to do, how to do it, and even who you are, you know, all of that is taken in. We soak up, our body does not forget a thing, you know, and so we soak up everything that is done to us, everything that is said to us, everything that we see being done, right? You know, through these eyes. So our brain can only conceive what we see, what we see happen, what we, until, I don't know if I want to say until, because even when we say yes to God, even when we have that relationship and grow in it, go with the conversation that I had before, even in the, I love you, I know who you are, I hear your voice, I'm going, even in that, there's still difficulty in, you know, accepting past what our mind can, you know, even take hold of.
Because we've been programmed.
And it's from him, you know, it is the creator of heaven and earth and us telling us, you know, what's good, what's not, how, you know, and just nudging us to into, you know, that place and guiding and directing us. But because of all the outside influences, we trust that more than we trust him.
And because that's in your face.
Right, exactly.
That's in your face.
Eyes taking in, you know, everything. Our ears taking in all these portals, right? That we ought to be mindful of what we watch, what we, you know, hear, what we expose our bodies to, because we are taking that in and it is forming within our minds. So when I share with individuals that ministry that, you know, God has given me, let me tell you, flaws and all, you better know that you all that. And I believe that because in I don't know how I want to say this, Christianity or just religion, or I'm just going to say the word church. There's a separation of sin, right? We hear, you know, we're taught you got to be good, right? That's the only way to God. That's the only way you're going to connect with him. And so as we live, whether it's before, after, or during our relationship with God, there has been sin, there has been bad, there has been, you know, and so in hearing that you got to be this way, you know, a certain way before you come before him. I'm not going to come to him if I know
you know
I
can't do it. Not ever.
No, I mean, no, but I say, but see, that's contradictory contradicting, because he said, come as you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we teach, or, it's taught that
Exactly.
you don't. You got to get yourself right before you go to him. You can't just go to him any kind of way. And that is totally wrong. And which
That
then
goes against everything that he has ever
who he
said to
is,
us.
right?
It goes against
Absolutely.
everything that he stands for. And
Exactly.
I acknowledge that. I wrote a book and I used it in my coaching course in the intensive. And one of the things is that what I realize is we've been taught, according to Bible, according to scripture, that we're supposed to deny ourselves and follow Christ.
Mhm.
We've been taught that we have to take up our cross, which is carry your own burdens,
Mhm.
And go this way. We've been taught
Right.
all these things, but the teachings are incomplete. I won't say that they're erroneous. I'll say they're incomplete
Okay.
because you do deny yourself. You deny the old self, because once you come to Christ, you're a new creation. Why
Mhm.
would you deny what he has created?
Right.
Why would we ever deny what he has created? You don't deny that. But that old self, that old way of thinking, that you kind of have to deny. Not kind of. You just got to push it aside. And it's not an easy thing to push it aside,
Right.
because as
It's a
you mentioned, there's all
process.
the programming, there's
Yeah.
all of the extra. And God is so gracious and he's so awesome, because he recognizes that we contend with all these things. When I
Right.
was thinking back to Adam and Eve, and they messed up in the beginning. With
Mhm.
that, if it were not for them, this would be a very different place, right? However, even though they messed up, even though they did not follow God's directives, God looked at them and he said, I recognize that you were enticed to do this. This
Mhm.
wasn't something that you just did on your own. We make a lot of choices and decisions based on the programming that we've received since we've gotten here.
Right. Right.
And he recognizes that. So he
Right.
doesn't expect us to be the picture of perfection as people say perfection is.
Right.
He expects us to just trust him.
Right.
That's it.
Mhm.
Everything else works itself out, right? All
Just
the you comes out in the wash. The
yes.
closer
Yes.
you get to him, the least likely you are to do some of those old things that you used to do.
Right.
The more
Right.
time you spend with him, the more your mind is being renewed and you start to think different and you start to desire different,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
start to crave different.
Yes.
But people don't get that part of the teaching.
Right.
They
Right.
What sticks is, oh, they want me to be perfect and they're not even perfect.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
What
I
sticks
supposed to be
is,
perfect, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
not, like you said, then that conversation, because I know I'm not perfect, right? Then the
Mm-hmm,
conversation is, instead of me just trying to, okay, how do I do that? What do you
mm-hmm.
mean? Instead of me seeking more and seeking the understanding, seeking that truth of it all, then emotions get in the way, right? Because
Yes.
pride gonna build up and say, well, how you gonna tell me how to do, and be when
Mm-hmm.
you over there? You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
that is, and that is our makeup, to
Mm-hmm.
do that until
That's
we
a
learn.
that's a defense mechanism, and
Yeah,
we
exactly.
all have them.
Right.
Nobody wants to be told that they're wrong or that they messed up or you didn't do it
Right.
right. Nobody wants to be told that. It doesn't feel good. So it's a very natural defense mechanism. But what God wants us to know is that that thing that you're looking for, that thing that you so greatly desire, you already have it. Your
Mhm.
job is to trust me enough to allow me to walk you into a place so that you can manifest it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that
And we're gonna,
comes from
it gonna
deep,
go inward.
right.
Inward.
It's
Yes. But
all it's here.
oftentimes we look at outward for the answer, where
It's
is
not
it
there.
here? Is it that? No, it is within. It is
It's always
within.
there.
And that's him, you know, that whole connection, because without him, It, there's no us,
Emptiness.
honestly, you
There's
know.
emptiness. There's emptiness.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
Purpose
hear
cannot take place. You cannot embrace purpose without the one
you
who placed
cannot.
purpose in you, you know, who created you for purpose. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love the fact that in your coaching practice, in your ministry even, you are encouraging people to literally embrace purpose. What I hear people saying over and over again is, let me help you find your purpose. Let me let you know purpose is not lost. It never has been lost. Purpose
No,
prevails day after day, moment after
yes,
moment, year after year, purpose prevails. God
yeah.
knew who you were before you got here. He had already
Before
determined who you were and what you were going to do, right?
before he put time
Before the
into motion,
foundations of
he
the
knew.
earth, before he put you in your mother's womb, he
Yes.
already knew. And so when we get to this earth, people say, oh, he just has so much potential. That's true. He had potential. Oh, he didn't live up to his purpose. That's a lie. Everybody lives up to their purpose, but to what degree are you going to live up
Mm-hmm.
to your purpose? That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
If God said, okay, Sonia, what I want you to do, as I'm fashioning you, as I'm putting all the pieces together for you, Sonia, I want to make sure that when you hit the earth, that you just cause people to smile and to love a little more deeply. That's what I want you to do. That's your purpose.
Right.
Period, point blank. Now,
Right.
when you get here, it's up to you to determine to what degree you're going to manifest that purpose.
How? Right. Right.
How?
Right.
How are you going
Right.
to do that?
Yeah.
Are you just going to smile at everybody who come your way and give them a hug? That's cool.
That
That's
could
purpose.
be. Right.
That's purpose. It's working. But then if you take it to the next level, he's going to be right there with you to
Right.
support that next level. But you don't usually get to that next level until you go a little deeper and you start looking within and you start to push past all the outer voices,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the external teachings, because what you have is already there.
Retraining their brain. Yes.
Retrain the
Yes. Yes.
brain. People
Yeah.
who, they're cut off. I tell a story about, I have a cousin and brilliant, brilliant mind. And when he was younger, he got caught up in the gang life and the drugs selling and this, that, and the other. And he went away for some years. But prior to that, this was what he did. He found a way, make a way to make money as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
They used to build go-karts, and the friends would come and pay him. He would train pigeons. People would pay him, right? He would just do little jobs here and there. People would pay him. And he would use those things to help out his family.
Mm.
Oh, we need lunch meat today. Okay, let's go get some lunch meat. I got this. This is what he did on a regular basis. And then he got into yuck, started selling the drugs. He went away,
Mm.
was locked up for a good long time. When he came back out, he had to find another way. Okay, I don't want to go back to jail, so let me figure out something else I can do.
Right.
While he was
Right.
in jail, he started working on computers. Right?
Mm.
Today, he has an amazing company with
Wow.
multiple government contracts
Woo!
where he's
I love it.
servicing those computers. And what does he do? Take care of his family. If
I
somebody
love.
needs something, they call him.
Wow.
His purpose was already there. He was
Right.
living his purpose the whole time. Even though he was doing all kinds of
Right.
manner of foolishness, he
Right.
was still
Walking it
manifesting his
out.
purpose. But
Yes.
now to this next level,
Yes.
because
Yes.
now I see a little more clearly.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand a little bit more who I am. Now I'm trusting God a little bit more than I did as a kid, because as a kid, I didn't trust God to provide for me because I didn't see where he was providing for my parents. So I
Right.
had to figure out how to provide for myself. But now I'm trusting a little bit more. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying none of that. There are levels to this thing for all of us,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
There are levels for all of us. And it's up to us to determine, are we going to go to the next level? We can
And
have all the things. Jesus made us some amazing promises in that word. He made us some amazing promises. There's some things that he said we can have, right? First off, he told us that if we ask for anything in his name, it'll be given to us if we believed, right? So the contingency is, number one, we have to believe.
Right.
And then we have to literally ask for it. But if we do those things, we can have some things. But then he also gave us some other things that he said, well, you know, certain things you got to fast for. You know, well, why couldn't we do that? Well, this kind doesn't come out except by fasting and prayer. Some things you got to fast for. So he gave us guidelines and stipulations, but we don't always put the pieces together. So we tend to miss them. And when we miss them, we don't realize we're missing him.
Right, right. Absolutely.
And so we
Absolutely.
get stuck on these levels, these different levels.
And
And
to
God just wants us
understand
to
that,
push.
yeah, to understand that those flaws, those mistakes, they make up who we are, our purpose, right? Because he created us to be in relationship, not with just him, but with one
each other.
another.
Yes.
Exactly. Why? Because you have something to share. I have something to, we all have something to share to be able to help another person. So the flaws, the mess ups, the mistakes, I did that one on purpose, you know, all of that, but I'm sorry, Lord, you know, all of it is going to be used to be able to help another person. If we see that that I can come to you, Lord. Yes, dirty and crazy acting, whatever, you know,
all of that.
But I see you and I'm pressing toward you. And he uses all of that, right? And that is part of walking in authenticity. That is that part of looking at who you are, taking that deep dive into everything that has happened, everything that was happened to you, everything that you did, all of that.
All of it.
And to say, I don't understand it all, but take it. You know, I mean, just use it for your glory. And oh my gosh, the question, right, that I'm gonna go to why Big Hug Conversations, or Big Hug Conversations was created in the first place, was to showcase individuals who are already out here embracing life, embracing purpose, walking in it, lighting the daggone thing up, you know, and in that, while another person, the viewers, are watching and hearing that person's story, they too become inspired. They too become encouraged. And then the hope is that they ask themselves, well, if they doing it, you know, well, what is my purpose? Why was I created? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Right. And beginning that whole conversation with the Most High, the one who created them for purpose in the first place. And so I just truly believe that, oh my gosh, our stories, first of all, our stories, yours, mine, theirs, you know, it is for purpose. And if we can see that and get past the do's and don'ts, the box that we place God in.
Skip it. Let's skip
it. Right. Look, just throw it out the door. Throw it out the door. Stop on that thing, everything. Burn it. Burn the box.
Burn it. That's it. Burn the box. Know? Yes, absolutely.
And just let him be who he is. You know, he did not come here to condemn us. You know, he already died for the junk. You know, he already did it.
You know, and the
so
key about that,
we can live.
About that is it's amazing how many people overlook the fact that he already did that.
Yeah.
Which means that took care of what you did already. That took care of what you're doing right now. And that also took care of what you're going to do.
Right.
It's already taken care of. Let's stop focusing on those things. When we talk about these flaws that we have, one thing that I have learned, God has showed me them oftentimes what we see as flaws, those are actually our superpowers.
Yeah.
Right? This
Come
is your
on, sis.
superpower, and it's been misappropriated. And that's why it's coming off as a flaw. Right? This is your superpower. It's been
Woo, I
misappropriated.
love it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, growing up in school, so I'd say I come from a really large family, but I'm my mother's only child, right?
Okay.
So in
Me
school,
too. Oh my gosh. Me
Chatterbox,
too.
I keep telling you, Chatterbox talked all the time. All my report cards, I would get report cards that would look like this. You get a letter grade, and then you get a grade for work habits and another grade for cooperation, right? So you get A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, F, and then you're gonna get what is it?
It's like
Something
S's and U's. Satisfactory,
satisfactory, unsatisfactory.
unsatisfactory. Yes.
So I would get ASS, BSS, always satisfactory. Sometimes I get a U, and it will always say, Shirelle's a great student. She's a pleasure to have in class. She's got amazing potential, but she talked too much. That was my flaw. I talked too much.
That was
it
the
was
flaw that they said.
misappropriated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my superpower. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's my superpower.
And do you see the very trick of the enemy to keep you quiet from the very thing you were created to do? Yes.
Exactly. After a while, it worked. After a while, I began to hold my tongue. After a while, when I actually started coaching, I was really afraid to advertise because I felt like people didn't want to hear what I had to say.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Huh. But then there's a verse in the Bible that says something to the effect of everyone has a voice and every voice is significant. I forget exactly what it is, but I pulled that and I was like, okay, so my voice is significant. So I do need to say something. And it's amazing that every time I open my mouth, whether I am coaching or ministering or just having a one-on-one conversation, I get all this amazing feedback.
Right.
But I was scared because I felt like people didn't want to hear what I had to say, right? Because the enemy will come and he will try to cause you to believe that you ain't all that, that you're inferior. And that's why I said, when we say it's a flaw, we might want to re-examine that flaw. That could very well be your superpower.
Absolutely.
Right? I remember that's great. We had moved to a predominantly white area. Upper middle class is where I was going to school. And I came in at the second semester, and I had always been what they called an honor student in everything but math. My math classes, I just did basic math. Math was not my strong suit, but all my other classes were honors classes. So I get to this particular school and they are deciding that, oh, okay, she's honors across the board. We're going to put her in the algebra class. This is 7th grade. I hadn't done pre-algebra. Didn't know what algebra was.
Wow.
But they put me in the class because they thought in the office, looking at my transcript, that was where I was supposed to be. So I remember sitting in the class and the teacher decided, he's going through the lesson. He says, okay, so if you have questions, raise your hand. I raised my hand. He said, if you don't understand something, just raise your hand, let me know. And I raised my hand and I let him know. I said, I don't understand. He said, what don't you understand? I don't understand any of this. And he lit into me like nothing I had ever experienced before.
Wow.
What you mean you don't understand? Why don't you understand? What are you even doing in this class if you don't understand that? Everybody in here understands this.
Wow.
That I internalized to mean that I did not belong amongst the high achievers.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it until about a year ago. That's how long it's been affecting me. Because we have started businesses. great businesses. We have helped other people build businesses. There was a time where we didn't have much of anything. We were dependent on the government. And we went from that, figured out, okay, what do we need to do? Started a daycare. I took that daycare and turned it into a preschool program. Successful business. My daycare was servicing government contracts.
All right.
And then, you know, they had like the little food program where they'll help you, you know, subsidize the food that you're paying. And I was out there teaching other daycare providers how to operate, how to use these different things. Was I not operating in the spirit of excellence already and didn't even realize it? But I pulled back. But I pulled back after a while. I was like, okay, you know, we're going to shut this down. We're going to move into something else. Not realizing that I had accepted what that teacher had said. And so I decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this. And I got right to the end where it was time for me to get my degree. And I was like, I don't think I want this. I had internalized that thing. Our family owns a financial services business, and it's a really good company. I mean, we do some really amazing work. I love the work that we do. But for years, I would just get right to the surface and pull back. Get right to the surface and pull back. And I cannot tell you how many different people that we have helped to not only start businesses, but build businesses, how many people we have trained for their business. I mean, trained other people to work their businesses, and get right there and pull back.
Yeah.
Because I had internalized the lie that somebody else told me, because he didn't know how to nurture his students.
Yeah.
And what he did to me, it was crushing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that and other things. But, you know, they come together and you start feeling like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you got this flaw and this is wrong with you. No. Let's re-examine all those flaws. Because most of the time, those flaws are superpowers. They've just been misappropriated. You haven't taken them to the next level yet.
That you said that.
So
I love it.
You know what? I love my father because just by spending time with him, he's been able to open these are little things, but he's been able to open these little things up to me, has caused major change in my life. Like the house I live in today, when I look back at the houses we started in, it's like, oh God, you did that.
Awesome.
The state of my family, I mean, so I graduated high school pregnant. Shortly thereafter, I gave my life to the Lord. A year or so later, I, you know, decided, okay, I'm gonna marry this man. So all of that was early. A year into the marriage, it was like, oh no, I think I missed God. I didn't hear him right. This ain't right. We gonna cancel this whole thing. And I filed for divorce.
Wow.
Like, there was things going on, you know, and it just wasn't working. And I filed for divorce. But this June, it'll be 32 years because God said different, right? It didn't happen because I'm just this awesome person. It didn't happen because he's just an awesome man. It happened because we decided to go deep. Right? I decided to trust God beyond myself.
Yeah.
I decided to take the leap of faith when God said take the leap of faith. And that's what I want to help people understand. It's okay to be uncertain. Yeah, it don't feel good all the time.
Right.
But trusting him, that's where we're able to manifest excellence. That's where we're able to see all these promises that Jesus said that we could have. That's where you're able to step into that abundant life. He said, I came to say they might have life and they might have it more abundantly. But he said might, which means it's contingent on some things, mostly contingent on you. Do you want it? Right? And so Once we can begin to just trust him, regardless of how we feeling, just trust him.
Right.
We
Right.
say, oh, but I'm scared. No, you're not. You're not scared. You feel some fear, but you are not scared. You are not afraid. You are a child of God, right? He didn't give you fear. So acknowledge that, oh, I feel the fear, but I know that's not from God. So let me go back and see what God had to say about this. And let me just trust him a little bit more. Let me just take that step. When we can start doing that, and it's one step at a time. I mean. Don't be trying to jump no mountains. You're gonna burn yourself out. It's one step at a time. But when we can do that, we can start seeing all these things change. When I tell y'all, financially, we changed our lives. We were able to manifest excellence. Physically, in my physical health, I was able to manifest excellence. And that was time and again, not the one I told you about the one time, but this was time and again and again. It's because of taking the steps. It's because of taking the opportunity to embrace me, understand who I am.
Right.
As an individual. I think a lot of times, especially if you grew up like in a small church, you have a mindset that you're supposed to be like somebody else. You have to dress it. See, when I gave my life to the Lord, it was a Kojic church. I don't know if you know about Kojic churches.
I heard of them.
So at that time, in the Kojic church, you didn't wear pants, you didn't wear makeup, right? They had all these extra things going on. I already knew, because I was raised Baptist, that didn't have anything to do with my salvation. But I served in the Kojic church because that's where I began to learn to honestly understand God's word. Somewhere in there, I began to give in to those external teachings that had nothing to do with my salvation. And I began to lose my own self. That happens to so many of us, and we don't even realize that that's what's happening. Right. God wants you to know you. Yeah. And to show yourself the way he designed you to be, not the way other people condition you to believe you're supposed to be.
Look, and yeah,
we're not here to meet other people's expectations.
No, and everything that you are saying is nothing but truth. I believe that you can agree with me, being a minister, called, and all of that, and that even there in that in I was gonna say position, but that's not really what I want to say, but in the church,
in that arena,
in that right, we are taught to preach a certain way. We taught to pray a certain way. We taught to counsel a certain way. We are taught to, all teach a certain way. Stress, all of that.
All of it.
And even down to your tone, I mean, and it wasn't until my own journey as I clung real tight to the Most High, because I was like, in all that I am trying and believe that I am doing and seeking you on this journey of, religion and just, moving in that manner, I'm like, there's got to be more to you than this. And as
absolutely
I continued on that journey, I found out, yeah,
so much more.
Yeah. And it is such a disservice. I mean, and I know
yes,
that those or the body of what different religions. I'm trying to get words right. That's why you see me kind of like,
I
but
understand. I understand.
right. So in that arena that
Mm-hmm.
those arenas, to know, I don't think it's grasped that one is being told to be a certain way,
To not be themselves.
other than who you were created to be.
To not be
Your
yourself.
style. And let me
Which
tell you,
causes you to feel very much inferior to,
when I got the call,
yeah.
Shirelle, when I heard his audible voice. I mean, it was, and I knew, right? I knew that was him saying it. And I know that he did it that way because I was taught that women don't do that. You got a certain place,
Mm-hmm.
So he had to, no, I'm telling you, ain't gonna be any doubt that that I have
Mm-hmm.
called you,
Mm-hmm.
to a
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And it wasn't until, as I then, was like, okay, now look, we're gonna have to have a conversation because I am not like that, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't dress like that. My attitude ain't like that. I don't, I'm loud. I like to have fun. You know what I'm saying? So, and the answer that was so very clear and was, I know, that's why I called you,
Exactly.
because you're not trying to conform. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing was, even in that, because that's how I was taught to follow,
That internal
Christ.
struggle.
That right, it was like, then I fell into following a pattern that I was
Mm-hmm.
told to be, even though he said, I know that's why I chose you, because you're
Mm-hmm.
not like that. I still ended up, doing it because I'm like, well, this is how I was taught to
They
follow
told
him.
me
Like
this is how I
he's
was supposed to
there.
do it.
This is how
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to, you know, um, form a relationship with him or come to know him or be that servant. Is you got to go to church every Sunday. You got to teach. You got to preach. You got to do all this stuff.
Check the
And
boxes.
right, and he like, that don't have nothing to do with me. That is not that. So I totally get why, there's so much discord, honestly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in those arenas. But even those individuals who step back to say, you know, well, maybe God is not real, because they think that this is God, you know,
Right.
that they
Right.
think that's God.
He's so much.
And yeah, right. And so my heart definitely goes out, because I understand. I was there,
Right.
I was in that same space. And so I know that he allowed me to go that route as well, so that I
Yes.
can, where I am now, tell somebody, now,
Yes.
oh, that ain't it. Let me tell
Yes.
you about a man who know all about me, told me
Yeah.
who I was, and yet and
Yes.
died for me. Yeah. Right where I was. So,
Yes.
um, flaws and all,
Flaws
just
and
to
all.
embrace all of that, because indeed it is for us to share our
Mhm.
testimony, to share our journey, and don't be so worried about what another person has to say. Yeah, there's gonna be some out there who they're gonna,
It's
just take
always
you
gonna
down a
it's
road.
always gonna be some. It's always gonna be some.
Always, yes.
Always. And
But
it's
he
okay.
will, yeah, yeah. Look,
They
because they
they
got
have
their
their
place
purpose
too,
too.
right? They got their place too. They got their purpose. Absolutely.
You know what I say about not just them, but anything that comes up that we feel like it's against us.
Yes.
It's just an opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's just an
Absolutely.
opportunity. So when people come up against you, or when situations come up against you, either way, just recognize it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to flex your faith.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
opportunity for you to allow God to show off. It's an opportunity for you to use the authority that he's given you. Okay, we got to figure out, this thing is up against me. This is an opportunity. What am I going to do with this opportunity?
Yes. Yes.
Am I
What you
just
gonna
going to say,
do?
oh, I trust God? Am I going to take the authority that he gave me and utilize it? Or am I going, cower and sit back? We
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
multiple options. And
Right.
it's okay. Whatever you choose, it's okay. Because that's where you are at that point in your life.
Right.
And God is still going to be there for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
He's going to
Yeah.
still be there for you and with you. And when it's time, he's going to say, okay, it's time.
Right.
Right. And so
Absolutely.
it happens. I mean, there's always going to be something
Yeah.
that's going to push you to go away from or to not embrace. See, the thing about purpose, like I said earlier, we don't ever have to look for it. It's always there. But it's kind of like, people talk about the devil. He's always out to get you. He's always this, that, and the other. The devil has a job. His job is to steal, kill, and destroy. Well, what most people don't recognize is he really can't do anything to you except what you allow him to do. And so what he does instead is he causes you to doubt. He causes you to not believe. He puts fear in your space so that you can cower to that, so you're not able to see beyond it.
Right.
He wants to distract you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's it.
and that you can attribute it to the devil as being a being, or just these difficult situations. I don't care how you
Right.
look at it. That's the
Right.
purpose of it, right?
Right.
The
Right.
purpose of those things is to distract you. Your
Yeah.
opportunity in that moment is to decide how far are you going to be distracted? How deeply will you be distracted? Are you going to give into this completely, a little bit, or not at all? And it's totally up to you. But we don't realize that because we haven't learned to embrace the reality of who we are, or the one that created us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Woo, sis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And for real, I mean, I could keep going on and on. And I think you the
Yes.
same way, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, because it is encouraging and it just builds, us up and in him, to be reminded of who we are and who created us. And it is all for purpose, all for purpose. And all we need to do is just ask the one who placed it in us,
That's it.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
That's Big Hug Conversations. I talk about the passion is the draw, but the journey is the big hug. Let me tell you, the passion,
yes.
the things that you love to do, we love to that thing we get excited about, that is indeed the draw. But your whole journey, how you got to where you are, that is the big hug. That is the thing that encourages one, another person. That is the thing that says, oh my gosh, if she can do it, so can I. And oh my gosh, if Lord, you can do that through her, then what is it for me, to do? What is it for me
That's
to
your
do?
authenticity shining.
Oh,
It's
my
just shining in that. Yeah.
goodness. Yes, 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 yes. And so I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for saying yes to Big Hug Conversations, saying yes to the gift that he has given me this whole nudge into
Yes.
creating this platform for individuals such as yourself to, again, inspire and encourage other individuals to seek and ask that, who am I and what is my purpose? And just go on and light the daggone thing up. Oh my gosh, yes, their corner of the world. I mean, we're doing it, right? Because as you light up your corner, I light up my corner, they light up their corner. And at some point, right, the world is going to be lit up in
Absolutely.
light,
Absolutely.
just embracing him. And so I am excited about everything that he has done in your life, that he is doing. I mean, we ain't even get to the doing yet. So I'm going
Right?
to let you share what you are doing and how other individuals can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Well, what I am doing is I'm coaching. That's primarily what I'm doing. We still have those businesses in place, that kind of thing, but my passion is coaching. I have a 12-week intensive, which is a group program that I generally work with about 15 to 20 ladies at a time. I also do one-on-one coaching, and I do workshops. If you are interested in working with me, you just feel like, abundance is just not flowing in this area or that area, and I need to get it moving, you can reach out to me at my website, and that is ShirelleBrown.com, and that's ShirelleBrown.com. Or you can email me at coachshirellebrown@gmail.com. Either one of those will get to me. I am on Instagram as She's Flexing Faith, and that's FLEXIN, Faith. And I am on Facebook at Shirelle Brown. So those are the ways that you can find me. I am here to serve. I just love helping my sisters get to the next level, right? I want to see you not only have goals, but I want to see you blow those goals out. Just blow them up. That's what I want to see.
I love it.
So if you feel like you might want to work with me, reach out. We'll do a nice conversation, and we can determine if that's something that's workable. The last way that you can reach out to me if you just want to have that conversation is you can go to my calendar page. It's calendly.com /Coach Shirelle Brown.
All right. You're doing it. You are doing the daggone thing. I love it.
We are doing it. Yes, ma'am.
My sister. Well, continued super duper gorgeous blessings to you. And I was about to say in the biggest hug ever, but it ain't time for that part yet because just one last question.
Okay.
That I ask all my guests. As we think on a big hug, how it loves on us, how it says I'm sorry, or that I'm here for you, I miss you, I love you. If you could give the world the biggest hug ever, what would it say?
If I could give the world the biggest hug ever, it would say, breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. And in that deep breath, recognize that that is your God and your source moving and flowing in and through you and empowering you to do all the things that you need to do. And once you breathe deeply, accept you. I believe when we do that, you got the biggest hug ever. You got what you need.
I love it. Breathe deeply. Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh. We don't do that often enough anyway.
Not enough. Not enough.
We ain't gonna, we won't sit in it. We just always either on the go, the mind is constantly going. But
yeah, it's necessary.
yeah,
It's definitely something that when I'm coaching my clients, that is definitely something that we practice on a regular. When I get up in the morning, I have to take time to literally just breathe. Y'all know I told y'all there was a time when I couldn't breathe. So
Right.
I believe in breathing deeply, but I know that in that breath, that is God's spirit flowing in and through me and nourishing every part of my body to do whatever it is that not only He wants me to do, but whatever it is that I desire to do.
Mm.
So breathe deeply and accept you. And I think that would be the biggest hug ever.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I thank you again, my sister, and biggest hug ever to you as well.
Yes.